All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now live. We have our first matchup of the day being, we're doing Terras versus Crabbling first. Let's get this bracket updated with the last contestant. All right. All right, so now let's get back to it. So this is going to be the first matchup of the Rise of the Mortarchs. This is our first qualifier. Planning on doing at least a few more of those, possibly up to 8 more. So it looks like the first picks and bans are on the way. So it looks like Terras is going to be picking the High Elves, banning Skaven and banning Coast. And we're going to see what Crabbling is going to be picking for that. Looks like Crabbling is going to be going greenskins. All right. Yeah, be sure to let me know if everything on the stream is going all right. Make sure all the audio levels, looks like everything's going good, but any feedback would be appreciated. Alright, so looks like both of our first contestants are pretty much ready. Just waiting on Tara is here. Alright, so while we are waiting a little bit here, we can look at the bracket right now. So we have Glyph and Imperator on the top end of the bracket. Imperator is going to be taking a little step out, so we're going to be starting with the bottom of the bracket with Terras and Crabbling. So it'll be a best of 3 for these first 2 matches, and then the finals will be a best of 5 with the winner are going to be one of the Mortarchs, and they will be one of 8 that will be going on to a final playoff at the end of the season. All right, looks like Terras is almost ready here. There we go. So yeah, like the first match we're going to be doing pretty much the DLC matchup. Both factions are going to be having quite a bit of I mean, both factions can be played a bunch of different ways here. Steve is saying that the greenskins are going to be having the edge in this matchup. I mean, we'll kind of see how that goes. Kind of depends on, I mean, really which way each person is going to pick their builds. I think either side can go a multitude of different ways, especially with all the new tools that they've been getting. So here we are, loaded into the first map as we wait for the rest of the armies to enter in. Alright, so let us start with the High Elves. So, oh man, away they go. Sure we do. Alright, so we have a Star Dragon up in the sky, as well as what's probably going to be Techless on foot. We have one unit of Rangers. We have a couple just Silver Helms. The Talons of Torquelada, getting some fire damage in. A couple Lothern Sea Guard. We've got a few Silverin Guard here. Actually, let's see. Actually, 3 Silverin Guard, 1 Spear. So it's kind of going for, probably just going heavy on the box with the Star Dragon. Kind of a little support here. Actually, the Rangers are going to be doing a little sneaky action there. And on to the greenskins. We have some Night Goblin Squig Hoppers. We've got Azag the Slaughter up in the sky. It looks like a line of shows. We got 3 Stone Trolls here going to be coming in with that missile resist against the archers of the High Elves. Got a Night Goblin Shaman. Looks like just with the Winds of Magic increase. And yeah, we have, looks like Spirit Reach, Fate of Buna, I'm guessing, and I believe that is the leadership debuff. So we have Night Goblins as well up front. We have Savage Orcs, the ROR, Night Goblins, Savage Orcs, as more Night Goblins on the side. So it looks like they are underway. So it looks like, again, yeah, the greenskins, they're not coming in with any range support, so they will be taking the initiative coming in. Looks like we have some of the Night Squig Hoppers coming in. They're going to be running into the Rangers here. I'm not really sure how well the Rangers are going to be doing against both of those units, but they are going to be engaging there. Got some more of the Squig Hoppers kind of cycling around, kind of trying to get into the archer line of the High Elves. So it looks like we also have the Silver Helms kind of screening them out. One unit of the Silver Helms seems to be kind of starting to move over to kind of support those Rangers, and we have some Illyrian Reavers coming in as well. Now it looks like the Star Dragon is pushing in on the greenskins left front, and now the Archer Fire comes in, targeting the Savage Orcs with their low armor, doing some fair bit of damage upon that first volley. We have a net coming in on the Stone Trolls with their missile resist. They're going to be taking that pretty well, except those Talons of Torquelada are going to be doing pretty good with their fire damage, as that's resistance. But Azag's coming in to kind of stop them from firing, to kind of keep those Stone Trolls as healthy as he can. But now we have the Silver Helms kind of cycling in to peel him off to get those Talons of Torquelada back firing again. So now we have Flaming Sword of Ruin actually coming down. So I must have coming down on this area, kind of giving this some fire resistance. And Azag's actually taking quite a bit of damage. He's already down to half health. Yeah, these Stone Trolls are going to want to come and get on those Silver Helms, but Azag just keeps taking more and more shots. We have some Squig Hoppers trying to stop the Talons of Torquelada firing, but they just have all this Archer Fire coming directly onto Azag as he continues to take damage. It looks like he is going to be able to get away here with the Wa going down as well. Now the Star Dragon is going to be coming up. He's probably going to be moving. He now has complete control of the sky. Azag's not going to be letting anywhere near that. But it looks like the greenskins have kind of pushed through that middle section of the High Elves. And we have the Fanatics coming down, doing some good damage, kind of doing a bit of damage also to the Savage Orcs. We have another net coming down as well, capturing a Stone Trolls and the Night Goblins. But I don't see really any follow-up from the High Elves in that regard. Despite the fact that Azag has taken a bit of damage, the front line has just kind of been completely taken out. It's right in this middle line. The Silverin Guard are the ones that are holding, but that one spot where there was just spears broke and allowed the Greenskin Tide to kind of just push right on through. Now Techless is getting gooned in as a Star Dragon comes in to try and to save him here, but he is continuing to take damage. I'm guessing he has the No, he has just a Spirit Leech. He does not have his potion pop there, so he's going to be taking some very good damage there. And yeah, he is now running from the battle, though he doesn't even look like he's getting out of that mob that he's in. And there's a potential that he can take some lethal damage here with the couple units of Stone Trolls. Azag, I don't know if he necessarily wants to come in where the Star Dragon is. I think he'd be just fine to stay out because that Star Dragon is pretty much hemmed in with the Stone Trolls and taking some pretty good damage here. But it looks like the Star Dragon is really all that's left of the High Elves. Everything around it, and now we have a third unit of Stone Trolls now kind of getting past the Sylvan Guard to now break, and now down goes the High Elves to army losses. So there is our first match with the Greenskins taking it. Yeah, really, those Stone Trolls are just able to kind of soak up all those shots. Like, I believe this unit right here that got 63 kills was the ones that took that initial bombardment. But even then, with their high missile resist, they're going to be able to take that any day of the week. So let's update the scorecard here. And so yeah, for the next map, I believe we're going with Galbaraz. Let's check my little note sheet there. So yeah, for today's tournament, we actually had a pretty good turnout. We had about 56 people sign up, and then on tournament day, we had, I believe it was 44 or 45 people are actively participated in it. So that's a pretty good turnout for our first tournament here. Yeah, as I said, probably planning on doing at least 3 more. If we do just 3 more, each of the winners will be taking a slot, and then from there, I will pick 4 of either the runners-up or the next, I guess, contestants with the possibility of a playoff. Otherwise, we will be doing a full 8 qualifiers. Everyone is welcome to participate in as many as they can. So yeah, I believe it's possible we might be doing the next one next Friday. Otherwise, I don't think I'm going to be available this next weekend, so otherwise it'd be the following weekend, though that might be the same time as another tournament. We'll have to check the schedule on that. So it looks like Crabbling is picking Dark Elves, banning Wood Elves, and Vampire Counts. That's actually kind of interesting because the Dark Elves are actually fairly good against the Counts. I wonder if he meant coast. But we'll see it. Unless he knows something we don't. And yep, there it is. There's Tara's picking coast. So this is definitely a match favored for coast here. It's a very, very uphill battle. Oh, but Therese, he obviously must have something because he is ready to go already. Yeah, I suppose, yeah, I'm kind of thinking back to Faction 1 not too long ago with, it was Ice Power versus Anticity's Coast, where, yeah, Ice Power actually did fairly well. He was able to bring kind of he brought a line of Eagle Bolt throwers, and they were able to take out the Mortar, which is generally very, very good against the Dark Elves. But yeah, I don't know if I think it was either Shades or Dark Shards. I want to say he used Dark Shards. But yeah, either Shades or Dark Shards generally do pretty good. I mean, any archer unit is generally going to do very well against Coast, but it's just that Dark Elves usually struggle to even get close enough. The mortar fire and the overwhelming just gunpowder line usually is able to kind of clear out any of the archers before they get close enough to fire in. And then you also have the bombers of the Coast, which are able to kind of pretty much delete almost all of the kind of the low chaff infantry that the Dark Elves bring. Oh, looks like Tara's dropped here for a sec. Let's see if we can't get him back. Ah, yes. So this is the semifinals right now, Shetland. So we have... Oh, there he goes. He's back now. But yeah, this is the semifinals. This is the bottom of the bracket. We started with the bottom, so we still have the top of the bracket to do. And so the other round is... It's Imperator versus Glyph. And that will be after one of these next two battles here. It looks like Trez just had a little bit of technical difficulties with the unit selection, so hopefully that's been cleared up. It looks like he's good to go as well. And so Crabling is also ready, so we'll get this show on the road. Alright, so we have the coast lineup right here. So let's see, we've got 3 mortars. That's going to be quite the rounds coming in. We have just a line of just regular deckhand mobs. We have also a line of 3 with polearms and 4 bombers. We have a couple fellbats. We have the Lamprey's Revenge, kind of hopefully kind of screen out any cav forces they might have. They have the fleet campaign of vampires, and it looks like we have Luther Harkon up in the sky. That's kind of a pretty standard build for the most part, probably a little heavier on the mortars than what I think I'm used to seeing. And now we can kind of swing on over to the Dark Elf side. So we got, of course, we got the Sorceress of Fire. It's going to be very good against Ghosts, I'm guessing, with Burning Head, Fireball, and Flaming Cloak. And then we got Morathi as well up in the sky. It's kind of interesting, contending with Luther, so she's going to have to kind of keep an eye out on that. So we got the Black Art Corsairs, which will actually do very well against the zombie mob if they're able to get to them. Those bombers are going to be quite the nut to crack. We have Celestial Harvesters, we have 1 unit of Shades, 2 and 3 units of Shades. And we have the Sisters of Sinking Doom, which elves are. So ready to start, and away they go. I mean, yeah, not seeing any handguns. I mean, that's not necessarily, I mean, yeah, they're really good against probably, I guess you see if any cabs coming in, but I guess going very heavy with the mortar, so they are very spread out. So even if one of them is compromised, they're going to be able to keep firing. But yeah, the handguns are going to be good against, I mean, if you possibly bring Malekith or any of the cav units. But otherwise, the mortars and the bombers are going to be what's going to be completely shredding the Dark Elf front line. Looks like we have a little sneaky action coming in the back. Looks like those Dark Riders are going to come in unnoticed as they come right in on these mortars. These zombie deckhand mobs with polearms are not right on top of it like the other ones are, so those mortars are going to be taking fire right now. Now some of these Shades are coming in, shooting at the Fellbats. If they're able to kind of get those online, but it looks like we have a Burning Head that right now, the way things are lined up, it's going to be able to clip all 3 of these units of bombers, especially now we have the Celestial Harvesters coming in on one of them. So one of the bombers is pretty much offline. The other one is going to take the same kind of business here as it takes about almost 50% of its health. So that was a very good Burning Head and is eliminating a lot of the damage that the coast is going to be able to dish out. And having more shots coming in, kind of focusing down. We'll be aiming at the bombers here, kind of get those offline. But we have the cavalry kind of off in the back. Looks like we have a Soul Stealer going down against Morathi, that's just clipping the 2 heroes, Luther and the Vampire Fleet Captain. Looks like we have the Lamprey's Revenge kind of keeping at least some of the Corsairs out from the back line. It looks like despite the initial cav charge, as 2 of the mortars are still up and firing, Luther is now chasing Morathi. She's definitely not going to be on here, but we do have the Shades in the back firing in. As long as they can continue to get sustained focus fire on him, that's going to be where they're going to be needing to shoot. But Morathi's now down to half health, taking some big meaty hits. I don't know if she's going to be able to keep away from him, but the balance power is right now in Dark Elf favor with kind of the elimination of all of the bombers and one of the mortars. Now the other mortar is now going to be chased down by these the Celestial Harvesters. We have another Burning Head and Soul Stealer going down, it looks like. Oh, and we had an overcasted indication that Burning Head wasn't as good as the first one, but I don't know how you could be a whole lot better. Morathi is now running from the field. Luther Harkon, by now Luther Harkon and a lot of the units there is now rampage from the Witch Elves, so they'll be kept in. And actually, oh man, Luther's taking a lot of damage from this sustained fire from the Shades, so he is in a bit of a predicament. Looks like Celestial Harvesters have now eliminated one of the last remaining 2 mortars. The other one is still up being pushed off. That one should still be firing, though Luther is probably going to be going down from all these shots. He needs to get out and away and get an invocation on him, though it doesn't look like that's going to be happening because he is still rampaged. He got rampaged again for the 2nd time with all the damage that he was taking. So now Luther's down, and that's probably going to be army losses here kicking in any second now. With now the coast really has no answer. Their last remaining mortar, which has a lot of ammo left, is now just getting continually kind of pressured from all sides, and there goes army losses as the rest of the coast army disintegrates. So yeah, Gus Crabling there knew something we didn't there and was able to kind of come in with that kind of the uphill battle and take the win. So yeah, that is going to be a 2-0 victory for Crabling. So all right, so let's get the next group in. Hopefully Imperator is ready. So yeah, Steve, yeah, definitely. I generally in that matchup, I bring a couple units of Morgul's to kind of hope to screen out their, I mean, not necessarily made for Cav engagements, so I find they do really well against the Dark Elves Cav units. So let's call in the last 2. So we've got Imperator and all right. So yeah, so Witchblade, this is going to be, yeah, the plan is to beat this, it's going to be like a cup. So yeah, this is the first qualifier. I'm planning on doing at least 4, hopefully up to 8. If it's 8, it'll just be the winner of each round takes the win. I don't know if we're going to be doing a playoff like my son's tournaments. It'll probably just be an 8-man playoff round. So yeah, actually Shetland, they did bring a couple units of bats in that one, but they did not, they were not able to capitalize. I think they got kind of focused down pretty early, so they weren't really a factor. I think by one of the units of Sage, the other units was able to stay kind of hidden there. Let's see if the other people are in yet. Okay. All right, let's see. They should be coming here pretty quick. Oh, here we go. I need to accept Imperator's friend request, and now he should be able to see it. All right, so Imperator should be joining up right here. We'll see if Glyph is going to be here as well. Take a little look. Not yet. So yeah, we actually update the bracket as well. So we got Crabling advancing. Oh, there he is. Alright, so now I just gotta see where is Glyph. Send a little invite to him. He should be able to join pretty quick. Alright, let's see here. So I'll get the first map set up as well. Oh, and there is Glyph. Alright, so we should be on Schwarzhofen for this first one. Fitting for the theme of this tournament. Yeah, Steve, I also think that, I mean, the mortars were very far from the front line. I mean, just a couple pole arms there I don't think was quite enough to keep any sustained pressure off of them. Being that far away, you didn't have the ability to have any like mortars turn and fire, or you didn't have any really any kind of support from like Harkin or anything. He wasn't able to peel off and support them, and the mortars were really kind of a big stopping tool for them. And with their front line so far up, the mortars didn't have long enough to shoot until the Dark Elves were able to engage. So, let's see, yes, so Imperator should be... No, I said Glyph is actually first for picks. Let's update the names as well. So we got Imperator up there, and go to the... So all right. Nope, I shouldn't have any screen blocker up here since I'm hosting as spectator. We won't have to have that issue because I messed that up yesterday. Forgot to take it down at least once. So it looks like Glyph is picking Dark Elves, banning Lizardmen and Norska. So that's another Dark Elf pick without banning Coast. We'll see if we have another repeat matchup. That'd be a little interesting to have another repeat. But let's see. So we got Lizardmen and Norska blocked. I mean, I wouldn't say that necessarily that Norska would have a big advantage against Dark Elves. I mean, honestly, Lizardmen as well. I mean, the Dark Elves have kind of some good tools to deal with them. So those are kind of some interesting picks and bans. So we'll kind of see how Imperator responds for his pick. Glyph, I am actually not sure who he is. I haven't seen him in any other tournaments. So he's kind of an unknown, though he seems to have done fairly well. I believe he has been able to, let's kind of take a look at the overall bracket for the day. So let's see, he beat Tank. He beat, let's see, beat some other people who I think I haven't really noticed. Like an Eggsy, Sebas, and Direwolf were his opponents today. And it looks like all but one have been 2-0. So I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll see how his playstyle is, see if it rings any bells. Oh, and it looks like Imperator is going to be going Wood Elves against Dark Elves. Alright, so it looks like Imperator is ready. Just waiting on Glyph now. We'll get the show on the road. It looks like now they are both ready to go. We will load up this match. Alright, so we got the Wood Elf forces up first. So we have a Glade Lord up in the sky. So we have, so it's the male counterpart on this one, by the looks of it. And we've got, without Anathema, we got a Spellsinger of Life, kind of keep that dragon up and running. So we got a line of Eternal Guards. Looks like they are the unshielded variant, and we have some Wild Riders. We have the Hunters of Cornus. We have a couple of Way Watchers, kind of a staple pick, and we have some more Glade Riders with Hagbane tips. So pretty mobile forces, probably going to be very much a kite build. And then for the Dark Elf forces, though, we have a line of Scourge Runner Chariots. Actually, might need to refresh myself on the... So we got Dark Riders, a couple more Darkers with Repeater Crossbows, Bleak Swords line, and a few spears. We have Malekith. Looks like he is on foot, kind of to avoid any focus fire. And we got a couple of Cold One Knights as well. Looks like Imperators ready. They are both ready to go. All right. So yeah, the Scourge Runner Chariots here are going to be kind of a good counter skirmish force to the just a couple Glade Riders, but otherwise kind of doing a little maneuvering around. Got some Way Watchers taking shots. I think they're probably going to want to be holding fire. Just shooting into some Dread Spears really isn't going to be their best use of ammo. Looks like oh, it is the Glady. I think for some reason I must have misjudged that. So that's, yeah, I think we had Prey of Anathema going down. Way Watchers are probably going to want to shoot in. Here comes a couple shots. They might get a little bit of friendly fire there, though. I don't think that Glade Lord should have been pushing in, though. That is doing some very good damage to that one unit of Scourge Runners. That's at least one routed. But I think that Glade Lord definitely took some unnecessary fire. We got some cavalry now circling around. Probably going to look to try and get into the Way Watchers, but with all the cavalry that the Wood Elves have, they're going to be able to respond very fast indeed. Got a little bit of extra damage to the Spellsinger, but they're not going to be pulling back. And now the Way Watchers are once again firing into the Scourge Runners, which is really kind of the anti-skirmish force against them. So if they can get pushed off the field, then that's going to be very good for the Wood Elves. Got some more cavalry kind of swinging around both sides for the Dark Elves, really trying to kind of hold the attention of the Wood Elves in kind of separate directions, maybe hoping to open up some avenue to get into. Now we have a charge coming into the front. I don't believe those spears were able to brace, and those Dread Spears are going to be taking a Bleak Swords, I'm sorry, are going to be taking quite a bit of damage as well. And that one unit of Scourge Runners is back. We have a, what did I say, Earth Blood. Yep, Earth Blood coming in, healing up those two back up to full. now the Dark Elves kind of collapsing on the formation. Looks like one Way Watcher is actually going to get caught out, maybe the second one as well. We got some spears are going to push in, as well as the Wild Hunters. That was a very good spell coming in from Malekith. Now it looks like a Soul Stealer come down. That is going to get a lot of units there. That is going to be a very, very good cast for Malekith. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage there. Otherwise, the rest of the Cav forces are kind of being pushed off on the fringes, but this center engagement is kind of where it is. You've got the Spellslinger life here. I mean, they'll be able to heal up kind of from that Soul Stealer, but the Wild Hunters of Kurnus are taking a good amount of damage. But they have been able to shatter one Scourge Runner and one of the Dark Riders as well, though the repeated crossbows are now firing into this kind of blob. We got Malekith kind of mixed in as well against the Glade Lord. With the fire coming in from the repeated crossbows, might be able to get some good damage in. I'm not sure where those... There's one unit of Way Watchers right there. The other one is also taking a lot of damage. If the Dark Elves have any mobile forces in the area, it'd be kind of good, but it doesn't look like they do. Their one unit of Cav is marked up, and there goes their Murderous Prowess. So as the Glade Lord kind of pulls out during that duration, doesn't want to be kind of engaged with Malice then, as the Spellslinger is now kind of swinging into the Dread Spears, as the Wild Hunter's Curse have gotten a rear charge off of them. Well, that Spellslinger definitely took a bit of damage, but he's got some focus fire coming in. At least the one Way Watcher is now back online. The other one is still kind of mixed in with this melee. If the Wood Elves can kind of pull that unit back, kind of get more back onto the focus fire. Another, I think there's any units there that's going to hit. Yeah, maybe it clipped a little bit of the Eternal Guard there, but I don't think that was doing a whole lot of damage. It might have just been a little misclick, or maybe saw some of the dead bodies there that I thought were units. Anyways, now we have the Cold One Knights and one of the Scorch Chariots are now trying to push off these Way Watchers here. It looks like they might be able to at least do a little bit of damage, possibly get in. Now we have the Glade Lord come down against this Scorch Chariots. We still have Malekith here at full health, with the shots continuing to come in kind of from both sides of the skirmish force. Neither side has really been able to completely shut that down. We have another unit of Dark Riders coming back. I don't know if the Wood Elves are going to see that, or they're going to be able to kind of get into the Way Watchers. I think these Wild Riders are kind of responding to the Scourge Runner, but a net does go down, so the Wood Elves do see it, and they get a counter charge off from the Wild Riders. That's probably going to make that unit of Cav rout. A few more shots coming in from the Way Watchers, probably keep them out for good, and then the Scourge Runner Chariots are continuing to kind of try and get these Way Watchers off the field, but every time they come in, they have been unable to accomplish that goal. The balance power is still dead even, with both units kind of in shambles. I mean, there's very little of the Wood Elf front line. These Eternal Guards are pretty low on health, and we got that one routing. This middle one's going to be routing soon without support. That far left flank is, but we got the Wild Hunters trying to at least save one of the flanks there, though the Glade Lord on the Dragon is going to be a very big threat, even though Malekith is at full health. He is only on foot, and I believe the Glade Lord should have another Prey of Anathema if he gets one down on Malekith. Even although we do have a nice little spell coming in, is going to clip 3 units there. Not so much on the Glade Riders, but the other 2 units doing some decent damage. Looks like the bounce power is actually starting to edge and flow of the Wood Elves. As now the repeater crossbows are kind of been pushed off from, I think, the skirmishing force of the Way Watchers, and the Glade Riders have been able to shoot in a bit, but they're not coming back. They'll get a few more shots in, but I think now there's some good damage coming in against Malekith, as now the line of Wood Elf archers and cavalry are able to just kind of get an unobstructed shot at point blank range, and right before these Bleak Swords are able to kind of shut down those Way Watchers, they rout. Oh, and Glyph does withdraw. So GG there. Yeah, I think the continued pushes into the back just each one for the Dark Elves just wasn't quite able to push it through. And I mean, the Wild Hunters of Kurnus and the Wild Riders actually did very well, able to kind of cleaning up everything else. I think maybe the Dark Elves maybe focused a little too heavily onto trying to get into the Way Watchers. And they were able to do an early catch, but then after that, they couldn't quite seal it out. So update the scorecard here for Imperator. All right, and the next map. Let's see, let's check my list. We are going to go with Pillar of Bone. Oops. All right. So initially, Imperator went Norska, abandoning High Elves and Coast. Though we'll see if he keeps with that with the new map set. Yeah, Doctor, I believe he did only use 2 prey. He used it early on against one of the Scourge Runner Chariots, and then later on against a Cav unit that was coming in against the Way Watchers. Unless I missed another one, but I believe it was only those 2. Okay, so Imperator is going to stick with his initial picks of picking Norska, banning HE and Coast, and it looks like Glyph is thinking to go with the Vampire Counts, and he is, so that'll be a Norska versus Coast, or not versus Coast versus Counts, so that'll be a very interesting matchup indeed. I know I kind of like this matchup. I actually did a initial video not too long ago on that, kind of poor audio, but it was a very good matchup. I think both sides I mean, it's pretty much going to be a melee guardian. I mean, Norska's got a little bit of fire support, but otherwise should be an interesting thing. I mean, last time I played with that, went up against Throg. I think that's probably a decent pick there. Could be good against any of the single entities that the Coast is going to bring. Or I keep saying Coast. The Counts, even though, yeah, Counts are my main. I shouldn't be messing that one up. Looks like Imperator is ready, or very close to ready. Right, yeah, just waiting on Glyph. We should be ready to go, and we still have our winner of the last match. We have Crabling waiting for the winner of one of these two. Alright, now it looks like Glyph is ready, so we are going to be underway. Alright, wait for both armies to get loaded in. Alright, so let's go over the forces of Norska first. It actually looks like we have Wulfric the Wanderer up on his mammoth. We have a Fimir Balefine of Fire, pretty standard pick for the caster there against an undead faction. We have a few Marauders here, just kind of a line of that. We have one Berserker. We have a few actually Horse Masters here. We have 3 of those. We have an Ice Trolls and 2. We have a Fimir Warrior, both with great weapons there. Kind of just a standard play there. Get a bit of skirmishing force. Yeah, Wulfric to kind of deal with any of the larger targets, and of course the Fimir Balecaster. You'll see here he brought, the Flaming Sword, Fireball, and Flaming Head. So that's going to be very good in imbuing that fire damage and just kind of roasting any of the lines. And then on the coast, or on the count side, we'll get that right eventually. We have 2 units of Blood Knights. We have a Necromancer on his corpse cart. We have a Lamian Vampire Lord. We have a couple units of zombies. We have a unit of Crypt Ghouls. Grave Guard with great weapons. Skeleton Warriors. We got the Stearnsman, always a very good pick right there. Some more Skeleton Warriors. And then a line of Direwolves with a 1 unit of bats in the air. Yes, just 1 unit of bats. So that's pretty standard build. I mean, we have another unit over there. But otherwise, yeah, the Blood Knights. The Horse Masters probably aren't going to be doing a whole lot to them, but they'll be able to do sustained fire. They probably won't be caught unless they kind of misplay, but the Blood Knights, they've got their banner of the Red Keep, so they'll be having that missile resist any shots coming at their faces. But otherwise, it looks like coast going very wide, and should be a good matchup. Alright, so now Norska is pushing forward with their horsemen. They should be able to pretty much do as much damage as they want. Probably a Fireball coming in, looking targeted that Necromancer. See how much damage that does. All the Horse Masters are firing right into the Crypt Ghouls. They'll be doing some pretty good damage there. They have pretty much no armor, so they'll be doing good. Actually, the Necromancer pulling some jukes is able to dodge that, doing a little U-turn. And now the Horse Masters are firing up into the sky, getting those fell bats. And it looks like we got the dogs kind of circling around, hoping to kind of hem in these Horse Masters, I'm guessing. Hopefully getting those, being able to allow the Blood Knights to engage them. Now both armies are just kind of slowly making their way towards each other. I mean, Norska doesn't have to engage right here. They're just going to be able to kind of keep plucking away with their Horse Masters as long as the counts aren't able to really pressure them in. Hey, Thomas, how are you doing? So yeah, it looks like these Crypt Ghouls, they'll be, and there they are, they're crumbling right away from all the sustained fire from the Horsemen. But it looks like the Graveguard might get a few shots in, but it looks like they'll be pulling away. Now the Lamian Lord's kind of circling ahead. The only kind of fireball coming up actually doesn't seem to connect at all. It completely goes right past, even though the Lamian was just pretty much completely stationary there. Summon come down, trying to put in those Horse Masters, though I don't really think that... it looks like they're doing an okay job, actually, but there's been no real response to jump in, and now the Lamian Lord jumps in. Wulfric and all the other shots coming in, turn and fire on this, and yes, we have Hunter of Champions down. That Lamian Lord is going to want to push through, but you're probably going to take a few shots in the back. It looks like you're able to get away without any undue damage, so I guess that was a little lucky there for the Lamian Lord with Hunters of Champions being procced under, but now the front lines are pretty much engaged. We got the Graveguard engaging the Marauder Berserkers. I mean, their armor's going to do pretty good against them, but the Marauder Berserkers are probably going to do fairly well in that matchup. And then we have a... Oh yeah, I forgot about the Lamian brings in pendulum down. It does decent amount of damage there. I feel like you could have done a lot better to kind of lined up right along these marauders. You could have clipped a lot more units. So now we have the cav force of the Counts is now kind of collapsing in upon Norska from all directions, really. It looks like a lot of the units now, we have the ice trolls are now routing. They will be probably not coming back at all. I'm sure one of the hounds are going to be able to jump right on them. We do have the ship coming through doing some good damage against a couple of units of skeleton warriors and zombies right there. Now Wolfric is just kind of still at full health, and now we have a flaming head that's going to clip through both units of Blood Knights and just continue clip the Firelord, but it's going to also, looks like it's hitting the Grave Guard with great weapons as well, doing some really good damage there. That's definitely something they need, and it doesn't look like that. Well, now it looks like the Direwolves are now getting on top of the Ice Wolves, so they'll be able to push those Ice Wolves off the map completely. Now it looks like the actually these skirmishing forces, the Horse Masters, are now kind of clumped into the center of this kind of Norscan ring that is being hemmed in on all sides by the coast. Oh, I keep saying coast, by the Counts. I gotta stop doing that. But now the Lamian Lord is engaging these Premier Warriors with great weapons. They're doing actually some really good damage, especially with Wolfric against the Blood Knight units here. One of them is crumbling away. The other still is, and it's just Skeleton Warriors. But yeah, one unit of Blood Knights is crumbling. The other one is at full health. And now we have a kind of a sandwich of the Direwolves. Actually, the Direwolves weren't able to actually push off the Ice Trolls. That's actually going to be a bit of a concern for the Counts, as those Ice Wolves are now able to rejoin the formation. Looks like we're going to have a Flaming Sword imbuing that fire damage for the Marauder Horsemasters. Will be very good for all their shots, doing all that extra damage. Another 100 champions being popped on the Lamian Vampire Lord, although it looks like she's able to get out once again without taking too much undue damage. So the Ice Trolls do stop her from escaping, and now Wolfric is coming in. That Lamian Lord might be pinned in pretty good there, though it doesn't look like Wolfric is going to pursue that engagement. And here he comes now. That Lamian Lord is probably going to be dropping. I think just one hit might be all it takes, and that Lamian now crumbles, and the rest of the army disintegrates following army losses. Very good game there. Kind of swinging both back and forth as the Counts got an early collapse, I guess, against the Norscan forces. But, I mean, Wolfric on his horse, 289 kills. He was just able to continually just trounce any unit that he was up against, and I think the Counts just kind of left him alone for a little too long there. So yeah, the sounds of it, it looks like Glyph is a pretty new. Yes, so it will be the same lobby. So we just have Glyph back out, and he is out. Okay, and I will get Crabling back. Okay. Oops, I think, nope. At Crabling. All right. So you should be over pretty quick. Let's update the bracket. So we have Imperator advancing to the finals. So this will be a best of 5. Okay, pull that back up. Thanks again, Thomas, for the compliment. I try my best to make the quality as best as I can. So, oh, right, so the map for this one. And now we have Imperator and Crabling both in the lobby. Let's see the next map. So we just did Pillar Bone, so we will be doing Glacial Lake. All right, so Imperator will have first picks here. Alright, so Imperator is going to be going Tomb Kings, banning Norska and Chaos. So I feel like actually, I mean, Norska may have a little bit of an edge against the Tomb Kings, but I feel like that's actually a fairly even matchup. Now, Chaos, on the other hand, I'm not necessarily certain, like, that's 2 out of the Tomb King's abilities either, so kind of interesting picks, though it is a best of 5, so that's probably has a little bit of factor. You don't want to be banning kind of factions that you're going to be wanting to avoid later on, especially if you think you have a shot at it against the Tomb Kings. So we'll see what Crabling chooses for his faction. Feel like Dawi, Coast, those all have, and then Empire as well, have pretty good matchups against Tomb Kings. So, I mean, any of those 3 I would not be surprised to see. But we are going Dark Elves. Krablin again coming up with the... Generally, the Dark Elves have a bit of an uphill battle as well against the Tomb Kings. But I guess it also depends on how you play them. I have seen it go both ways. I think Tomb Kings generally have a bit more tools to deal with the Dark Elves. But, I mean, Krablin seems, again, confident about going against these uphill. Well, I mean, Thomas Coast definitely has good matchups against most factions. There's definitely matchups where Coast struggles very severely. Dawi is one of them. Dawi is probably the worst matchup for the Coast by far. It's probably one of the worst matchups in the game. I mean, Empire also generally do fairly well against Coast. And I guess generally the Archer span of High Elves, so that's a little less lopsided. But yeah, Empire and Dawi are both very good against Coast. I mean, while Tomb Kings can outrange the Dark Elves, it's kind of a temporary thing. Like, if they're able to, once they get, like, if they bring Eagle, Eagle Bolt Throws, I guess that's the High Elf version of it, but you bring those and you're able to kind of push in, kind of weather the storm long enough, and once those get in, they can do fairly well against any of the, I guess, the constructs, or if you bring a artillery piece as Tomb Kings, those will be able to get in as long as you're able to get them in range. So it looks like Krabling's ready. So you wait for Imperator. Hey, Melverde, welcome to the stream. Oh, right, the score. Yeah, so this So we got the score is 0-0 for this is our first matchup of the finals. Imperator versus Crabling. So I think I might have just missed. Nope, I think that was just Crabling readying up. All right, now Imperator is ready, so we will get this show on the road. Yes, this is the first game in the finals. This is a best of 5. Might need to refresh myself on how the best of 5 works. I personally haven't made it this far in a tournament, so... Alright, so for the Tomb Kings, we have a few units of Necron Horsemen. We have 3 units of archers, the Horseman Archers, and then we have the Necropolis Knights with Halberds. We have a unit of Skeleton Chariots. We have a Necrotech on his Chariot, and then we also have Cetra the Imperishable on his Carrion Warsphinx. And for the front line, we have some Skeleton Spearmen, more Skeleton Spear, a couple Tomb Guard, 3 Tomb Guard, and another set of Skeleton Spearmen. So kind of going for... yeah, the Tomb Guard would definitely trade well into any of the Dark Elves infantry, unless you, I mean, you're not going to be going up against the Harganeth Executioners necessarily. I usually don't see them too often, but for the Dark Elves, we have Morathi, we have some Cold One Knights as the only cav forces. Generally, you see a little bit more of the skirmishing force for the Dark Elves, but you got some Dread Spears, Bleak Swords, and more Dread Spears, kind of that cheap infantry. You got some Dark Shards, 4 units of those, and 2 Witch Elves. Yeah, for their Rampaging ability, and one of them being the ROR, the Sisters of Singing Doom. So we'll see how that goes. Definitely the Rampaging is going to be kind of what they're looking for. Get Rampaging on Cetra, or any other kind of key targets, and then kind of just focus fire them with the Dark Shards. So now the skirmishes are all going to be kind of focusing on these Cold One Knights, because definitely the Tomb Kings have the mobility advantage here. Morathi looks like she's kind of diving forward a little bit, because there's no other, you don't have any like Ushapti, you're not bringing any other range units, so it's very much a frontline engagement for both sides. I mean, yeah, you definitely have the Dark Shards though on the Dark Elves, so their key targets will be these constructs, kind of the more elite forces. Though I guess, there is another unit. So you have the Slaanesh's Harvesters as well. I thought there was just the one cav unit, so we have both of those. Yeah, it definitely looks like, yeah, the Dark Shard are now kind of swinging around and kind of targeting into the cav. Right now, they're shooting into the Necropolis Knights, doing quite a bit of damage, and the Soul Stealer going down is going to clip, and Morathi also kind of swinging down as well, so it clips 2 units of the Horseman Archers and the Necropolis Knights themselves, so that's going to do some very good damage, despite the fact that the Cold One Knights are going down. Another shot coming in from Morathi. It doesn't look like I actually did any damage in that one, but that is some good damage, and I think they are now, yes, they are crumbling, so that is actually probably a very good pick, getting those Necropolis Knights off the field. But before they go, they are going to be charging into the Dark Shards, and the frontline engagement, so yeah, just some, there's Celestial Harvesters have actually engaged the Necron Horsemen. They will win that matchup in a 1v1, but otherwise, looks like, in general, the Tomb Guard, at least, should be winning their engagements, though the outside flanks, the Skeleton Spears, they're not going to be doing a whole lot of good against the Dark Elf forces, especially now we have Murderous Prowess is popped, and Cetra now is coming in. I don't know if he necessarily wants to be jumping right into those Witch Elves, but he kind of swings right by without luckily taking any damage to being able to rampage him. We have another Soul Stealer going down. Looks like it is only going to clip a few units, so it looks like it catches the Rampage Tomb Guard, it catches the Necrotech, and Cetra. Otherwise, actually, if we swing back here, it looks like Morathi is actually still engaged with this Necropolis Knight. Somehow they are still not crumbling away, and now we have the Ushapti summon. Morathi, I was surprised I missed that there, that Morathi's been taking a whole lot of damage, that those Necropolis Knights just refuse to die. There's that crumbling in action. Yeah, definitely now that the the Dark Shards are kind of a bit in shambles there. The cavalry force of the Tomb Kings have been able to kind of really shut them down, so we only have this one unit that's even got a modest amount of troops left. The rest are all being chased off, so there's nothing that's really able to easily target Cetra. Yes, it's definitely going to be very, very hard for the Dark Elves. I don't think they really have anything left to deal with that, and that shot missing Cetra completely. I think the last target here is going to be these Dark Shards, get them completely chased off, and that's going to be game, I think. Yep, and there goes Morathi. She is shattered, and the rest of the army soon follows. So yeah, the Dark Shards, getting them shut down early was really, really key for the Tomb Kings there. So they're kind of eliminating their threat, because Cetra's going to be able to deal big damage to Morathi, though it looks like Morathi met her match against the Necropolis Knights. Alright, and the next map. Right, so we did Glacial Lake, so it looks like Sword of Torgold is next. Let's scroll down to that. Alright, so for the next round of picks and bans, should be Crabbling is up for picks. Alright, so Crabbling is going to be going High Elves, manning Greenskins, and Dark Elves. I mean, High Elves have gotten a pretty good additions to their roster, so they're pretty good round off. They have a lot of tools to deal with a lot of different things, although you pretty much commonly see, I mean, Star Dragon with Alariel and stuff like that, but depending on the matchup, I mean, Teclis and Alariel, though, are pretty much the most common picks. I think it's pretty rare you're going to see anything other than those two. I mean, occasionally maybe you can see Tyrion, but Mr. Jabbers wanted to see the Dowie. Let's see what Imperator goes with. Oh, I should update these scorecards as well. So we have Imperator at 1. So Imperator is actually going to go with Bretonnia. Generally, Bretonnia, I believe, has actually had the advantage against the High Elves, though I think with some of the additional components for the High Elves, I mean, I think that gap has been lessened a bit, but still, Bretonnia is generally going to be able to, I guess they strayed a bit more from their cav-heavy builds to a more of an archer spam, but I feel like they're definitely their cav, especially what they can bring, is going to be able to contend a lot better with anything that the High Elves still have available to them. Yes, Imperator, a hero of the people with Bretonia. I mean, Mr. Jabber, I'm not exactly sure what Imperator's mains are, but I mean, if he's very comfortable with Bretonia, then that's going to be even if it's not necessarily the best pick in this situation, picking something you're a lot more comfortable with is going to be a lot better than picking a good matchup with a faction, though, that you're not very comfortable with. But yeah, Silver and Guard. I mean, it kind of depends, though, if you're going to be going more with the Weather the Storm against this with the Silver and Guard, though. I mean, you're still going to be seeing. I mean, you'd probably go maybe away from that cav, and you still have the threats of bringing in the trebuchets, which would do pretty good work against the Silverin. So we're going to kind of see how this matchup plays out. It looks like the map, I believe, that is in Bretonia for the Sword of Torgold. We got the Bretonia castles overlooking. Looks like Imperator is ready to go, and we're just waiting on Crabbling now. Alright, and now Crabbling is also ready, so we will get this show started. Right, now we wait for both armies to get loaded in. Right, for the forces of Bretonia, we have one. Let's back it up again. So for the Cav, we definitely have quite a few. We have Knights of the Realm, Questing Knights, Grail Knights, another unit Grail Knights, and the Companions of Quenelles, Questing Knight ROR. For the Infantry, we have a couple of Bowmen with Pox Arrows, going to get that poison damage in. We have the Holy Wardens of Masontel, or something like around that pronunciation, Val Pilgrims ROR. We have some Foot Squires with great swords. We have there's a few Peasant Mobs. We have the Fey Enchantress and a Paladin on horseback. And it goes to Spearmen at Arms, Men at Arms. So it's kind of a really, generic front line. But the big stopping power for Bretonia is going to be in their Cav forces. And now we swing on over to the High Elves. So we have a Moon Dragon up in the sky with Teclis, with Regrowth Noble on horseback, it looks like. So then we have some Lothern Sea Guard. Looks like we have 4 of those. We have a couple of regular archers. And then it looks like we have, yes, there is the Silverin Guard that you guys were looking for. So we have 4 units of those. It'll do very well against the frontal charges of Bretonia. But there isn't really a whole lot on the High Elf side, and both armies are advancing. But there's not a whole lot on the front line. You have these 4 Silverin Guard, but that's it. And you have a bunch of archers. And when you have 5 cavalry units, they're just going to be able to just completely circle around, if you like. And they're going to be able to just kind of mulch through this back line. I mean, yes, you got the Lothern Sea Guards. They have the anti-large but still, they're not going to be doing as good as, definitely the Silver Guard. So you definitely have, so we have 3 units of the cavalry now kind of circling around, and definitely since the High Elves don't have any other mobility other than the Moondragon, Bretonnia is going to have full mobility, so they're just going to be able to kind of completely set up, probably get more of a surround off of the formation of the High Elves. Yeah, definitely. If either side had just brought 1 unit of artillery, it probably would have changed a lot about how they initially engaged, because right now both sides are pretty much going to be a push up. Like, but the archers are going to have definitely the range superiority on the Bretonnia side with only 2 peasant archers, and peasant archers in and of themselves aren't going to be doing much, but they're really just kind of there for that poison. If you bring a lot of them, then you have the volume of fire, but just 2 isn't really going to do much damage as you would be hoping for. So it looks like we have a net coming down on the companions, and it looks like we have a fiery invocation as well is going to go through. I think Tech was hoping to catch more than just 1 unit. Watch that come down, doing pretty decent damage. But I think, he was definitely trying to catch more than 1 unit there, and that would have been a really good combo. But otherwise, the rest of the infantry is kind of engaged. We have 2 units. We got the Knights of the Realm and Questing Knights kind of pulling away one of the Lothern Sea Guard. One of them kind of engaged there, and the other one would kind of have free reign to kind of rock into the backs of the Silver Guard or into the archer unit. So it looks like one has engaged. This other one, though, the Arrow, the Companions of Quenelles, with the fire from these archers as well as the fire invocation, they've been getting some pretty good, taking some pretty good damage. And now we have an Earthblood going on this little group of units here. It's pretty much breaking down this. It looks like the Noble is mixed in there, and this is probably going to be taking damage from this entire cav force. We got Techless coming down. It looks like a breath attack maybe coming down. I don't know if it's used it recently. It does, with Moondragon starting to circle overhead, landing in the middle of that, trying to save that Noble. Those cav units might just be turning right around, pinning in that dragon as well. Though the Fey Enchantress has taken a bit of damage, she is now going to be pulling out. It looks like definitely the Bretonnian forces are starting to collapse. Kind of the outside fringes. We got 1 unit of Lothern Sea Guard has been completely shattered. These companions are now doing a kind of a last samurai charge here as the 3 units of archers are shooting in. They are very low. But they are not taking as much fire. That Moondragon can very easily push that off. Another massive net coming in, pinning in 2 units here, and so we'll see what the response is here. Just a breath attack coming down. That does some very good damage as well against the Grail Knights. Canion's actually getting caught out in that as well. And now the Moondragon's coming in on the Faint Charge, actually getting very good damage off the charge. Faye's going to want to be pulling away. The Paladin is also not in a very good mood, so her initial cav support is now kind of vacant. Now here comes the cav support that she had before, is now kind of charging in, trying to get damage off on that Moondragon. That Noble is actually very, but we have another fiery invocation coming in. That is looking like it's going to, can the Grail Knights get out of the way there? It does look like most of the units are able to get out, and it's just going to be going through some of the spearmen. Though that's acceptable losses for Bretonnia. As long as the Knights didn't die, any losses are acceptable. Faye taking a few focus shots. She's taking decent damage from that short range one, but now the Moondragon is actually routing, keeping that constant pressure from the cav forces. I just completely slowly whittle down. Even the frontline engagement has been just kind of probably just getting squished down and slowly whittled down, and the stopping power of the Moondragon and Techless just wasn't quite enough to take the day here, and it looks like army losses are just about to kick in, and Bretonnia will take that match. So yeah, I mean, Sylvan Guard, you're getting a lot of kills here, but I mean, if you're just killing peasant bowmen, that's really not, or just peasant mobs here, that's really not going to be that as beneficial. I mean, the archers, I think, got shut down fairly quickly by the mass of cavalry. Even though, I mean, Techless had a couple good nets and fire invocations, but still wasn't quite enough to seize the day. So now Imperator is now going to be going up 2-0. So we will update that. So Imperator is now up 2-0. Best of 5, so this is going to be match point for him. So yes, the new map is going to be, we just said Karak. So now we're going to do Karak Bufdar. So Mr. Jabber keen on seeing the Dawi in action. So yeah, so far we have not seen the Dawi take place. I've seen High Elves a few times, I believe, but yeah, the Dawi have not made their first appearance yet today. Yeah, Silverguard are definitely good at holding the line, but if they're, if they are unable to protect that back line, then it's really not going to, yes. So yeah, we pick and double ban until that 5th match, which I'll have to refresh myself on what the rules are on that one if it gets to it. Nobody likes the Dawi. I think everyone likes the Dawi, it's just they don't quite fit in as, like, they have some very good picks, but they've also have some very bad picks as well. I guess no one likes to play against the Dawi. Alright, so Imperator is going with Norska again, banning Coast and Dawi. And so, Mr. Jabber, you will not be seeing the Dawi in this match. Though Norska does have tools to deal with the Dawi. They have their Chariots that can go through their lines, but they, a lot of their, especially like Wolfrakar's Mammoth, is going to be taking a lot of shots if you're going up against the Dawi gun line. But I don't know, that's a matchup that can go either way. Then we'll see what Crabling goes for his faction. Mr. Jabber is not happy with Imperator's bans. And Crabling's going to go Empire. So we'll see how that is. That's another gun line. So he banned 2 of the gunpowder factions, and he's going up against the 3rd. So we'll see how that goes. But we do have Sigmar making his appearance in today's tournament. So while we wait for them to get their armies focused, I'll take a little look at the bracket for today and kind of see who both players have been going up against. So we have Imperator, who has beaten Glyph in the semifinals. He's also gone up against Showtime, Ulrich Rahl, and he has gone up against Energized and Happy Puppy as well. Looks like Crabling is ready, and for Crabling, his matchups for today has been Terez, Kree, Ice Power. He also faced Lags as his as his first opponent. So both facing some very good matchups. I think Imperator May has gone up against probably the tougher of the lineups. He's definitely had quite the climb up to the finals, and it looks like Krabling's still the only one ready. So, I mean, both sides definitely facing some very high-level opponents today. Yeah, for this matchup, I feel like Empire will have the advantage if they go kind of more with some skirmishers, I should say. They'll probably outfire any of the skirmishers that Norska brings, with the exception of Norska going very heavy in that department. But yeah, definitely the cannons and the gunpowder line that the Empire can bring is definitely going to be a benefit against a rush faction like Norska. Yeah, so the Empire is definitely a jack of all trades, master of none. So they can really go whichever route they want. Norska is pretty much going to be rushing. I mean, they can do some skirmishing, but yeah, the Empire definitely can field a lot more variety in this matchup, and we'll kind of see what both sides go with. So it looks like we got Norska over here first. So we've got a two feral manticores up in the sky, and probably looking to do a bit of harass. It looks like we got a troll lineup as well. We have Norse controls and then two of the ice trolls. We have berserkers, a line of normal marauders. We have the Femir Balefina Shadow Sketching. He has Mystifying Miasma and Enfeebling Foe, I believe. Those are those two. And then we got Wulfric, of course, with his Sea Fang. He's got Rage and Hunter of Champions. And then let's see, we have a few units of Horse Masters and the high end for the skirmishers. So we'll see how that fares. Because now we go to the Empire side. We have some Outriders and Grenade Launchers as one of them. That'll do very well against the Norskan Infantry with their light armor. We have Knights of the Blazing Sun on one end. We have two, and one on the other end. Looks like we have the Tempelhof Luminarch. That is going to be an interesting matchup. Kind of expecting the large targets, which there are a few targets for that. And then we have Balthazar's Gelt with his final transmutation, and a line of spearmen, of shields. We have some handgunners in the back as well, one of them being the Arwar, the Silver Bolts, with their magic damage. So we'll see how this goes. The Outriders are definitely probably going to outclass the Horsemasters in terms of firepower, but a lot of damage coming in from the Grenade Launchers, just getting their shots in against those Horsemasters. But the benefit that the Horsemasters have is that they can chase and shoot at the same time. A shot, that is doing some very good damage against Wulfric from the Temple Luminarch. So he's very good indeed. So now Belt is actually trying to pull off these Marauder Horsemen so the Outriders can fire in, because when the Outriders are running away, they're not going to be able to fire in like the Horsemasters are able to do. Some more Grenade Launcher shots coming in. But it looks like it's definitely a skirmishing battle to start things off, and a net comes down from the Tempelhof. It has a bounded net, so the shots are going to be able to rain in on those Horsemasters, and a charge as well coming in from the Knights of Blazing Sun. That will be breaking them for sure. I would imagine, at least. So surprisingly, they have not routed yet, and there they go. So that's one unit down. The other one is getting low as well for Norska. And now the shots are now going to be raining in against Wulfric. Hey, he's going to have to try and stay away. It looks like a final transmutation is now going to be clipping. So we got the both Feral Manticores and Wulfric are being caught by that spell. So that's going to be doing a lot of damage against the high value targets of Norska. But now Norska is starting to come into melee combat with their front line, and they'll definitely have the advantage once they're engaged in melee. Their melee combatants are going to outclass anything that the Empire is able to bring, but Wulfric is getting very low as all these shots from the silver bullets and the handgunners are coming in, and he doesn't really have a way to quickly shut it down. So I don't think he has a good way, in a point-blank shot from the Temple Luminarch, and they just stops it from firing. It looks like both the Feral Manticores, even though they are enraged, are chasing Gelt there, so that's going to be good for Norska. And they both have broken off there. But Wulfric, he just continues to take shots. He is trying to chase this Templehof Luminarch, but still, they need to shut down those gun lines, which they are just able to do, maybe in time to save him. But he's now caught in by the Knights of the Blazing Sun, and the Outriders just kind of pinning him in place. And now the Luminarch point-blank range from here, and shots raining right in, taking him down to critical, though. I think these Outriders are going to be able to pluck a few shots in and probably even just finish him off right away. So now the grenade launchers firing in to the Marauders, doing some very good damage, and now the Ice Wolves might be able to kind of catch up a little bit, but it looks like, yeah, these grenade launchers are pulling away, and now the Templehof is shooting in, firing into the mix. I think I might clip that Balefeed a little bit there. But definitely the loss of the skirmisher force for the one unit is coming back. No, Norska, I would say, is in a little bit of dire straits, especially losing the Lord, especially, yeah, Gelt is still around, so he will be probably saving up for another. Actually, there is that final transmutation. Oh, yep, there it is. But just about to say saving up for another one, so he might have one more by the end of the game. But there's the second one, and a net also going down on those Horse Masters. Though they were both taking quite a bit of damage from that spell there. The Feral Manticores are kind of off chasing some units. The Silver Bullets will be going off, but hopefully they'll be coming back to kind of support, shut down any of the other fire. Really, the grenade launchers are going to be doing probably the most work now. I mean, the Templehof Luminarch has kind of done its job getting rid of Wulfric. There's a few more targets that it can shoot at, though it actually looks like Norskin's being pushed back a bit on this flank here. They were unable to break the Spearman line. These trolls are going. The Templehof is getting low. It still has plenty of shots to fire in, especially now that it's going to be pretty much clear to fire. This here Balefeed is now sitting very isolated, and there's nothing really that around close to support. I mean, now you got both of the Feral Manticores coming in. They're probably going to want to be trying to shut down these grenade launchers. More Horse Masters are now coming back. I got the Trolls, which I think would be nice if Empire could have been able to chase those off. But now they're going to be able to engage them. They may be routing again here pretty quick, going up against those spears, and off they go. So, yes, Imperator is Norska. But the balance of power is still dead even. I mean, Gelt, yeah, he is the Lord, though he doesn't really have much in terms of stopping power. His benefit is in his spells, and you still have, I mean, those Berserkers are going to be doing pretty well. These actually handgunners did come back. That Templehof is probably going to be going down pretty soon, though this Feral Manticore might get rampaged, and there it is again. So he is now rampaged, and that actually the last leadership bonus for Norska is almost down as well. That figure Balefeed, though they were able to push off the Knights of the Blazing Sun. I think that Balefeed is going to try and prevent that Temple Luminarch from firing, because if it gets a shot on that netted Feral Manticore, which apparently is still able to take off, even though it was netted down, and now the hits coming in from the Balefeed are going to prevent that from firing, as now the Rampage one is coming in. Actually looks like Norska is pulling away in the balance of power despite the early picks. It looks like I think these Feral Manticores have actually been a lot more beneficial than you'd think. And it looks like a final transmutation is coming down again. So it should be his last one, though that will rout the Femur Balefeed of Shadows and take it out as well. It's going to do some very good damage to the Feral Manticore. Now, if they can get that one Feral Manticore off, maybe, but that's Geld is still very low, and pretty much the Empire forces that could kind of deal with it, like the grenade launchers and the Outriders, seem to have all been kind of pushed off, and even these trolls that were being chased off by these spears, that group of spears back there, and that is going to be game. So it looks like Imperator is going to sweep the series 3-0. A very good game indeed. So that was actually a lot quicker than I was expecting it. All the matches, I think all of them were clean sweeps, I believe. I don't think anything went into 3, or in this case 4 matches. But yeah, very good matchups today. We got to see Glyphs kind of rise to fame. So I'll be kind of talking with Imperator a little bit after this. But yeah, I will take a look at the bracket real quick. So we have our first champion for the final playoffs. We have Imperator. So yeah, I thank you all for watching. See if there's anything else in chat. Oh, I suppose I should be dropping a link to the Discord here. Here, let me do that real quick. All right, let's pull up that. So here, oops. So here is a link to the Discord. It's going to be where we're going to be posting all of the info for all the matches and all of that. So any upcoming tournaments, as I said, hopefully we'll be doing one maybe towards the end of next week, kind of hoping Friday. If not, then it'll probably be the following week, depending on how all the tournaments are done. So thanks for all the participants in today's matchup, and we will be seeing you next time.